Hello everyone, welcome back. In the previous video, we had completed our recent conversations page, and now in this video, we are going to create our UI for our search page. So without anything further to do, let's get into it. So the way I'm going to do this is that inside of our pages folder, I'm going to create a new file. I'll call this file our search page .dart. Once we have this and search page.dart. Once we have this, I'm going to do enter. I'm going to import our material library. Once we have that, I'm going to create the now actual search page class. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to define a class, and this class is going to be called search page. And it's going to extend state full widget. Then I'm going to create the create state method inside of our stateful widget class. I'm going to remove this comment. And then we can now proceed to actually creating our corresponding search page state class. And this is going to extend state of type search page. Once we have this, we can create the build method inside of here. And with that, I'm going to remove the comment here again. And I'll, for our actual create state, return an instance of our search page state, and then do Alt-Shift-F command save. Okay, so now before we can get going with our search page state, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to define two new variables in our search page, and one is going to be height and one is going to be width. And then these will get passed into our search page every time it gets initialized. And then this dot width, and just do Alt-Shift-F command save. So with that, the next thing we're going to do is that we are going to, for our actual build method, inside of our build method, return a container. And for now, we'll have a child for our container. That would be text. And then it'll say search page. With that, I'm going to add a comma here, do Alt-Shift-F, do command save. Now I'm going to go back to our home page. I'm going to go to the top. I'm going to import our search page, /search page, do Alt-Shift-F command save. I'm going to go down to our tab bar pages, and then I'm going to replace the first element inside of our children's list to our new search page. With that, I'm going to pass in the height and the width, add the comma, Alt-Shift-F command save. Now I'm going to just reload the app to make sure nothing's broken, and I'm going to click on the tab icon, and as you can see, we are now on our search page. So with that, we're now ready to create the actual UI for our search page. So our search page, if I open up the design files, is going to contain a list view. And then on top of that list view, it's going to have this text field that is going to actually allow us to actually search through the users. So let's get going. And then both of these are going to be housed inside of a column. So what I'm going to do now is that I am going to create a function first. And I'm going to call this function our search page UI. Then I'm going to create this actual function. So search page UI. Then this function is going to return. And this function is going to return a column. This column is going to have a main axis alignment, which will be main axis alignment dot start. Then we'll have a main axis size. Will be main axis size dot max, then add the semicolon, and then we'll have the cross axis alignment, which will be cross axis alignment, and then we'll do center. After that, we'll define the children for our column. So we'll have two children. The first children is going to be our search field. So I'm going to create a new function, and I'm going to call this function our user search field. And then what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to return inside of here a container. This container is going to have a height. And where do we get this height? Well, we're going to get this height from our search page. And the way we are going to access our search widget is we are going to access this dot widget, which refers to the search page widget. And then we're going to access the height. Once we have this, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to define the width, and it's going to be this dot widget dot width, similar to how we did our height, and the height also had to be multiplied with 0.08 so that we can give our actual container a height. Then I'm going to do Alt-Shift-F command save. Next thing I'm going to do is that I am going to define the child for our container, and the child for our container is going to be a text field. Okay, so now that we have defined the text field, what we're going to do is that we're going to set autocorrect for our text field to false. Once we have that, we are going to define the style for our text field, and this style refers to the style of the text entered inside of our text field to text style. And all we'll do is we'll set the color of the text entered to colors.white. Once we have that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to set the onSubmitted function, and for now it can be null, and we do get an input for onSubmit. Okay, so with this done, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take our user search field and I'll add this as a children for our search page UI. Alt-Shift-F command save. Hopefully our search field shows up, but it's a pretty ugly looking search field. So what I'm going to do now is that I am going to address the styling for our text field. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to define the decoration. Then I'm going to set this as input decoration. We'll then define the icon for our, or the prefix icon, which is an icon here for our actual text field, and it's going to be an icon. And then we'll have icons.search, and then finally we'll have a color, which will be colors.white. I'll add the trailing comma, Alt-Shift-F command save. Hopefully the icon shows up. The next thing we're going to do is that we are going to define the label text. So the label text refers to the text inside of our search field when nothing's being typed. So search, and do Alt-Shift-F command save. Once we have this, the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to type in the label style, and then the label style is going to be text style, and then color, and then it's going to be colors.white. Once we have that, the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to define the border for our actual text field, and the border is going to be border, and then we'll have an outline input border. This border is going to have a border side, and the border side is going to be border side.none. We do not want any border for our input text field. Then I'm going to add a comma, Alt-Shift-F command save, and then with that I'm going to do command save. So as you can see, our search field now actually shows up. The next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to add some padding to our actual text field, and the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to add some padding to our container. I'm going to use add insets .symmetric, so apply the same padding from the top and bottom on the vertical axis, and this is this dot widget, then the dot height, and then we'll multiply that with 0.02, Alt-Shift-F command save. So now our search field works, as you can see, and is showing up perfectly. So now the next thing we are going to do is that we are going to create our actual list view that is going to display all of our users. So I'm going to create another function, and I'll call this our users list view. And then what I'm going to do is that inside of here I'm going to return, and what am I going to return? Well, I am going to return a container. This container is going to have a height, and height is going to be this dot widget dot height, and then we'll multiply that with 0.75. Then we're going to have a child for our container. So the child for our container is going to be a list view dot builder. So I'll do list view, then dot builder, and then we'll, for our item builder function, get passed in a build context. So build context, and then an int for our index, and then I'll open the function block at the corresponding trailing comma and do Alt-Shift-F command save. So now we're ready to define what our list view builder is going. So with this, we are actually ready to define what our list item builder is going to do. So what we're going to do is that we are going to return a list tile. And then what we're going to do for our list tile is that we are going to have firstly a title, and the title is going to be text. And then for now we'll just say Hussein Mustafa, so the title of our actual user. The next thing we're going to have is going to be the actual image for our user. So I'll define the leading widget, and the leading widget is going to be a container that I'm going to copy in, because it's a fairly simple container with just a decoration image and some height and width. I'm going to remove the comma, I'm going to add and then I'm going to do Alt-Shift-F, Command Save. For the network image, I'm going to paste in a Pravatar image for now, and then paste it in for network image. Then with that, I'm going to do Alt-Shift-F, Command Save. To see our changes, I'm going to take our user's list view. I'm going to add this after our user search field, add a comma, do Alt-Shift-F, Command Save. And then what I'm going to do is that we are going to see that we get a list view, and it's going to be an infinite list view. So what we can do then is that inside of our list view.builder, we can set our item count to 1 and do Command Save. Next thing we're going to do now is that we are going to define the actual trailing widgets for our list tile. And by trailing widgets, I refer to the widgets that follow after the name. So these two widgets, which is a text that tells us last seen and then what was the time that it was last seen at. So we can close this and we can get going with that. So now I'm going to define our actual trailing widgets, and the trailing widgets is going to be a column, and then this column is going to have a main axis alignment. So main axis alignment, and then it's going to be main axis alignment dot, and then we are going to use space evenly. After that, we'll have a main axis size, so main axis size, and we'll do main axis size dot max, and finally we'll do our cross axis alignment, and that is going to be cross axis alignment dot, and then we are going to do end. With that, I'm going to do Alt-Shift-F. And with that done, what we're going to do now is that we're going to find the children for our column. So the children is going to be a list of widgets. And then for now, we'll have two widgets. Firstly, we have a last seen text. So I'm just going to put in this, add a comma and do this, and do Command Save. And then secondly, we'll have an actual text that is going to show us the actual text for when the user was last seen. So I'll just copy this text again, paste it here, and I'll say here like about 10 or about an hour ago, and do Alt-Shift-F, Command Save. With that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to call this video an end, since we have completed the UI for our search page. And now in the upcoming videos, we are actually going to implement the search functionality as well as pulling data from Firebase to actually show our contacts in our search page. So with that, I'm going to end this video here, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Peace.